Hi, I'm Jess.
Hi, I'm Kristen.
And this is ReDIScover, a conversation where we travel through everything that makes up the essence of who we are and how to live authentically and imaginatively.
Here, we invite you to join us as we explore and discuss a little bit of, well, everything.
From Disney to cultivating your most authentic life to deepening your relationships and talking about the real stuff.
We hope you'll find this a space that speaks to you, encourages you, and brings a little bit of magic into your day.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jess.
Hi, I'm Kristen.
And welcome back to this week's episode of ReDIScover. While June is not completely over yet, things are beginning to wind down here in ReDIScover Summer School. And when things begin to wind down in real school, you guys all know exactly what that means. Final exam time. But this final exam is going to be a fun final exam.
Jess, we cannot fail this final. If we fail, we won't graduate from ReDIScover Summer School.
You're right. For this final exam episode that we've structured, we have it broken up into some sort of familiar sections that you may know if you've ever taken a final before. Multiple choice questions. We have some true or false questions and some fill in the blank questions, as well as the rapid fire questions we ask all of our ReDIScover guests. So these questions, Kristen and I are going to ask each other. We're going to test our knowledge on how well we know each other, and it's just going to be a really fun time.
I hope you know that all month, the bit from Finding Nemo, when Mr. Ray's like, climb aboard, explorers. We're ready to learn, to get some knowledge. It's just been going through my head. I'm ready to learn and get some knowledge, Jess. Actually, I'm ready to learn and test my knowledge.
So we're going to get started with multiple choice. Kristen, do you want to explain the structure of how we're going to ask and answer these questions?
Yes. Everyone grab your number 2 pencils. We are going to each pick the most optimal answer. And if you, while you're listening, want to shout out the answer yourself, if you think you know the right answer, feel free to do that because there is no judgment here at all. At ReDIScover, whether you're in your car or you're walking around, we talk to ourselves all the time. That's why we started a podcast. So feel free to shout out an answer if you have one, but we are going to run through these and give, I think, the answer that each of us thinks is best. And then maybe we have to argue our way to the right answer. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how many of these we both agree on. We don't know.
All right. So ready or not, here we go.
I'm so nervous.
So question number 1, what do you think is the best way to spend 20 minutes every day? A, work out, B, take a power nap, C, meditate, and D, journaling.
I'm going to say A, workout, because a 20-minute workout is my optimal length of time to spend working out. I don't like to do like a 90-minute pumping iron in the gym session. So I love like a 20-minute HIIT workout or like a 20-minute dance workout. I think it totally changes my mood. It gives me so much energy and it doesn't take up too much time.
Wonderful. I'm going to go with D, journaling. And I'm going to say that because I was tempted to say power nap, but 20 minutes is not long enough. And I think 20 minutes of journaling is really great. You can do a brain dump journal. You can answer some guided journaling questions. It's just a really nice way to get recentered. And 20 minutes is like a great amount of time for that. Mm-hmm. So next question.
Question number 2. What do you think is the best way to spend approximately $100? A, a nice night out. B, a cheap flight. C, a shopping spree. Or D, tickets to an experience like a Broadway show or a concert.
I'm going to go with B, a cheap flight, because I get really excited whenever I book a flight, and it just means you have a trip coming up. So I'm going to go with that.
I'm going to pick choice D, tickets to an experience, just because it's so fun to like get dressed up and go to a concert or a Broadway show. And I think all of us are missing those experiences. And I actually just recently went to my first post-Panorama concert. And it just like filled my soul with life again. And I was like, oh, I forgot how much I missed this. So yeah, for the joy alone, worth the $100 ish that you spend, I think.
Absolutely. I really don't think you can go wrong with any of those
No.
options, though. What is the best midnight snack? A, Nutella, B, cold pizza, C, cereal, or D, ice cream?
I'm going to go B, cold pizza, because I think that I'm not going to say the only time of day that it's appropriate to eat cold pizza is at midnight, but I think it, like, to quote the Gen Zers, it hits differently at midnight. I
Mm-hmm.
think cold pizza, like late at night, is just like, there's just something very therapeutic about it.
It's a light
And
delicacy.
yeah, you feel like a little gross, but you're like, whatever, it's midnight. Nothing is real.
I'm going to go with C, cereal, because that was always my midnight snack growing up. Like, I just went straight for that when I was hungry before bed, and specifically Cinnamon Toast Crunch because it's the best cereal.
Controversial opinions.
I think I'm
Also,
very confident in that opinion,
I
actually.
thought you, I thought you were gonna say I think I'm very versatile, actually.
I mean that too.
Yeah, we love a midnight snack. All right.
Hmm.
What is your go-to drink when you're out to eat? A, beer, B, wine, C, cocktail, D, soda. Don't answer this question unless you're over the age of 21.
Yes. So I am. I
Yeah.
just turned 28 last month, in case you missed it.
Ooh.
So I'm really old. Anyway, I think my answer for this is going to be wine, B, and that more specifically a red wine like a Pinot Noir or a Merlot.
Ooh.
Second choice would probably be a cocktail, something like an amaretto sour.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think I'm gonna copy your answer a little bit. Not entirely, but I think if I'm going out to dinner with a big group of people, what we usually do is if they have a great cocktail program at the place we're at, we'll each order a cocktail and then later in the meal we'll share a bottle of wine. So I think my go-to cocktail would be, well, my favorite cocktail of all time is called a Corpse Reviver #2. And it's like gin and lemon and absinthe and lillet. And it's like very complex, and only places with absinthe can make it. So I can't get it a lot. But in the summertime, I just love since we're in the summer right now, just like a really well made, light and refreshing margarita. But then,
Mm,
yes, I agree with you about the red wine, but I would probably go more towards um, like a Nebbiolo or oh gosh, I really like a Tempranillo too. That's all.
beautiful. I actually also need to second the margarita with a nice salt rim.
Yes, always salt.
Totally forgot. Totally forgot to mention that. Anyways, all right. Next question. Which of these is your biggest peeve? A, people chewing loudly. B, people who don't use turn signals. C, people who are on their phone when they're talking to you. D, people who get too close to you when they're talking to you.
Oh, all of these are so annoying. um, I can't say C because sometimes I am guilty of being on my phone when people are talking to me because I am a chronic multitasker and it's something that I'm working on. I'm not perfect. So I have to say A, people chewing loudly. I just like chew with your mouth closed. It grosses me out. I don't want to see your
That's,
food while you're digesting
ugh, yeah,
it.
not a fan. I think I am going to, all of these are, pet peeves, but I think I'm going to go with D when people get too close to me. I don't like when people are in my bubble. I just like having space. Unless you are my boyfriend, I do not want you near my face. Like, that is it.
Mm-hmm.
6 feet
Totally
apart
fair.
has been working really well for me. So it just feels too chaotic when people are near me and I just want to get away. Anyways,
That's
that's that.
totally fair. All right. Which of these sound like the most fun date? A, beach day with maybe dinner at a beach bar, watching the sunset. B, cocktails, dinner, and dancing. C, a hike and a picnic, or D, entertainment of some kind. So going to a movie or a concert or maybe a comedy show.
I'm going to go with A. I love a good beach day and the whole vibe of, spending the day by the water and laying in the sun and then finishing off the day and getting some drinks at the beach bar with some really delicious food and then watching the sunset. Like that is a dream date for me. Like you just can't not have a good time, you
Mhm.
know?
I'm gonna go with B. Um, just because I love going dancing when you can. It's so rare, and I feel like I probably needed to grow up and be in my 20s in another time. But to find like a place where you can go dancing and it's not, we're not talking like trashy clubs. I mean like swing dancing at Disneyland or something to that, like a jazz club where people are dancing. That kind of thing to me is like the most fun. Um, and I just like the idea of like finding like a fun speakeasy and dressing
Hmm.
up and doing like the night on the town thing and like getting an Uber and not having to worry about driving or parking or anything and just enjoying the evening.
So fun. Again, for that one, like literally depends on the day.
Yeah.
All of them are such great options. Like you can't
Yeah.
go wrong. My turn. All right. Last multiple choice question. I can't keep track of how many questions we're doing. Last multiple choice question. Which out of these following destinations would be your first choice to visit? A, New Zealand, B, Spain, C, Thailand, or D, Peru?
I'm gonna go with B, Spain, because I think it has everything that I love about a place. It has the climate. It has a good balance, I think, of history, but also like the cities and being like Barcelona or something is much more modern. There are beaches. There's great food and great wine and like people with a really rich culture. Yeah, I think I gotta go Spain. I gotta go Spain.
Good answer.
España.
My answer for this one is E, all of the above. Just kidding. I think the one that I have been closest to going to out of these would be Thailand. Like I feel like I'm so close I could taste it. So I think that would be my first choice just because it's been on my list forever. I think it looks so beautiful. The culture is just really fascinating and like beautiful to me and I just want to experience it firsthand. I feel like I've had a lot of friends who have gone and I've heard about so many stories from going there. And it just, I don't know, I feel this innate draw to Thailand. So I can't wait to go someday. Literally all of them, because I want to be like, oh, but I also want to go to New Zealand. And it's like, oh, but also Peru, also Spain. So Enneagram 7 slash Sagittarius is coming out right now. And that's that on that.
Unsurprised, and I fully support that. Next section of the exam. Hope your pencils are still sharpened. You should have brought two. We're getting into true or false. Now, this section is a little different. We have 5 true or false statements about the other person. And so we have to ask it, and then the other person's going to say whether it's true or false. So, Jess, we'll start with you. First true or
Okay.
false statement. Jess has a younger brother.
The answer for that is true. His name is Jonathan. He's almost 3 years younger than me. And he's a little bit more low key. He's more of the introverted type, more into like economics and things that are a little bit over my head. We have a really good bond from growing up together and, sharing all of our childhood experiences. And, we'll always have an eternal bond with Roller Coaster Tycoon and VMK. And, occasionally we'll do a little traveling together. So he's my buddy. We have this sort of relationship where when we're together, we have a really good time, but then we kind of go and do our own thing and we'll come back. So you don't see him that often in my, social media life, but he is very much part of my real life. Oh, and like the other side note is you may have seen me post pictures with Hunter, who has the same last name as me, and we have a very common misconception that Hunter and I are related. We are on a soul level, but on a human level, we are just, adopted brother and sister, not officially. We just adopted each other like in our friendship. So yeah, we just really liked that we had the same last name, so we went with it. And I think he was my brother in another life or something. So
I love that.
love
Yay.
love both my brothers, whether they are blood related or just, not. So next question, we're gonna go over to Kristen. True or false? Kristen wants to adopt a cat.
False. Fun fact, I am allergic to cats. I wasn't always, but I developed an adult onset allergy to cats, which is kind of sad because I like cats. I also like specific cats. Like if my friend has a cat, like I love Jess's cats.
They're so cute.
Tigger and Tinkerbell. But I would rather adopt a dog. I am definitely a dog person through and through. I want a dog. I want a pupper. Okay. True or false? Jess drinks coffee and goes for a run every morning.
What do you think the answer is? This one is a hard false.
Hard false.
Hard false. I have a very, I'd say it's lessened up, but I developed a really extreme caffeine sensitivity when I got sick in 2019. So I avoid coffee as much as I can. Sometimes I want it just because of like the social aspect, or it's just cozy, or it tastes good. Like there's some really great coffee flavors and lattes and things, but I try to not do that to my body because it kind of goes into like an anxiety shock / stomach issues. So yeah, we drink tea over here in Jess World, peppermint specifically. And as far as running, I don't think I've ever gone for a run in my life. I don't run. I never have. And it's just, I don't know. It just doesn't, I get really short of breath. And I think that's what turns me off from it. I mean, I'm sure that could be fixed by some endurance training, but I just would rather do yoga and Pilates
Yep.
and like a gentle walk any day, especially after my health stuff. Like hardcore exercise and me do not mix very well. True or false? Kristen was her high school class treasurer.
I'm pausing so everyone can finish laughing. But you guys, this is actually true. Math is not my favorite subject. It doesn't come as naturally to me as others, so I really had to work hard to be decent at it. I was, in fact, my high school class treasurer for junior and senior year. And you know what? I didn't suck at it. So yay for stepping out of your comfort zone.
You needed a hobby when I went to college. So
honestly, I was like, I don't know what else to do. I'll count money. Okay. True or false? Jess was on the bowling team in high school.
Now I know what you're thinking. This sounds like total BS, and this was actually true. I believe it was my junior year, I want to say. My friend Alicia and I joined the high school bowling team, and we'd go every Tuesday, and the best part was eating the French fries. I think I was probably one of the worst ones on the team, but I had fun. I just wasn't very athletic, so bowling seemed like a good option. There was really low stakes when it came to competition, and my dad was actually on his high school bowling team, but he was like really good, and he still is really good. So followed in his footsteps more so, just for the French fries, but it was a good time.
I support that.
There we go. Thanks. Okay. Next question. True or false? Kristen's great uncle was the prime minister of Sweden.
True. Super weird, but true. My family history is quite fascinating. I'm fascinated by everyone's family histories, but it's been very fun, like doing all the 23andMe's and learning everything, and talk to the old people in your life too. They know a lot more than they're letting on. But yeah, that was true. True or false? Jess has been to Australia.
That one is false. I have been to Europe and Asia, but Australia is one continent I haven't made it to yet, along with, South America and Africa. I've been fascinated by Australia since third grade when we studied it in my class. So it's definitely high up on the list. Okay. True or false? Kristen has a lisp.
Depends who you ask. Some would say I do, but according to
one person who
according to humans I've known for over a decade / my mother and my stepfather / 2 speech pathologists, and a speech teacher slash therapist. I do not have a lisp, so it has been professionally and experientially confirmed. I do not. It's false. But some would say it's true. Jess's birthday, true or false, is a national holiday.
I'm gonna go with true on this one. Actually, I would classify it as an international holiday. So, if you followed me for any amount of time, my name has transitioned from Princess Jess 508 back in the 2013 days to now Jessica Faye 508. And 508 refers to May 8th, which is my birthday. So now when my friends tell me happy birthday, they don't actually use those words. They say happy 508 day. And it means the same thing. So if you would like to join us in celebrating 508 every year, I would highly encourage it. It is an international holiday, and it's always a really big celebration. Thank you. Final question. True or false? Kristen's tan is fake. Oh, we're getting into some juicy questions over here.
We're getting into some, yeah, it's the FAQ, really. My tan is not fake. It's real. I like to be in the sun.
And we have one last true or false question. True or false? Kristen and Jess are actually related.
Ooh, we're actually not going to tell you the answer to this one.
You're going to leave them hanging?
We're going to leave them hanging. Yeah. If you are listening to this episode right now and you want to take a gander at the answer, you can shoot us a DM or tweet us. Are we related or not? I don't know. Could be true, could be false. Maybe we've just never commented either way.
Our next segment of our final exam is a fill in the blank segment. So why don't we hop? This will be fun. So let's hop right in. So here we go. Question 1. Blank was your favorite game as a child.
Now, are we talking like board game or like just game, like thing you play outside or both?
Anything that pops into your head that was like a staple of your childhood.
The first thing that came to my head was Ghosts in the Graveyard, because I have a lot of cousins and we used to play that all the time in the summer. But as far as like a board game goes, I mean, I was very into Operation, I think, as a kid. I don't know why, because
I'm surprised because you have a lot of doctors in here.
I know, but I'm like, I didn't go into the medical field, but everyone else did. So yeah, I was very into Operation. I remember that. But yeah, Ghosts in the Graveyard was the like first thing that came to my mind.
Cool. And I would say, let's see, board games, I would say Categories and Monopoly.
Ooh.
Loved those. Video game wise, I would say Mario Party and Mario Kart. And then computer game wise, I loved my computer games. So Zoo Tycoon, Roller Coaster Tycoon, VMK, we've talked about this before, but also like Freddy Fish and Putt Putt and all of those as well.
I didn't even think about computer games. Yes, Freddy Fish all the time. Also, my brother had this like Hot Wheels game that you had this like steering wheel apparatus thing for the computer, and that was really fun.
We were so lucky with computer games when we were younger. They were so cool.
They were.
They don't make stuff like that anymore.
Oh my God, we're old. Your top 3 favorite fruits are blank, blank, and blank.
Okay. I would say my top favorite is raspberries. And then I love cherries as well. And I think kiwi.
Oh, I would say raspberries also. And see, my brain is always like, oh, it depends what's in season. Because like when blueberries are in season, I want them always in everything, on everything.
Okay, everything was in season right now.
Yeah.
What would you choose out of your options?
Then I would say raspberries, mango, and figs. I really love figs. I like figs.
Interesting.
I like figs with savory things. I think figs are super underrated. I don't know if it's like my Sicilian blood that's like, you love the fig, but I really love figs.
Interesting. Next question. When you're at the zoo, you make sure to see the blank animal.
I have two. Is
Okay.
that okay?
Yeah.
Sea otters and giraffes. They're my
Oh
favorite
my
animals
God.
that I couldn't have as pets. Wait, what are yours? Are they the
I
same?
literally was going to say the same thing.
Oh, that makes
Yeah.
me happy.
Yeah,
Okay.
for
We need to
sure.
go to the zoo together.
I love the zoo.
We'll do a podcast episode live from the zoo. Last question. If you're rewatching something on Netflix, it is likely blank.
Oh, probably New Girl or Gilmore Girls.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Bye. Same.
They're the best options.
Literally, those were the two. I was going to say either Gilmore Girls or New Girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Absolutely.
would have been Friends, but they took it off. I'm not bitter. It's
No.
like genuinely, I'm not because I do have it on DVD, but
Oh, I was like, I am. I am genuinely,
wow.
but I don't have them on DVD. I need to do that. We thought since we always ask every guest on ReDIScover these rapid fire questions, it only seemed appropriate that we finally answer them ourselves. And we thought, what better time to answer them than on our own final exam? So go right ahead, Jess. Take it away.
Okay. So, our first question, what does living authentically mean to you?
It's so funny because we ask everyone this and I always like think about their answer. I'm like, yeah, that's really good. And I feel like I like know my answer, but I've never really articulated it. I think
Me neither. And I didn't plan this, so I don't know if I'm going to
so
cover it all.
Yeah, we're truly on the spot. Yeah. So whatever we're saying is like these rapid fire questions, just as a disclaimer, these are truly like the ethos of this podcast. So if you listen to every episode of ReDIScover, that is the answer to all of these questions. Like every piece of content and context that we provided, whether we were talking about relationships or happiness or anxiety, whatever, all of those like positive affirmations and things we come up with are truly, I think, the answer to these questions, like long form. But short answer, I would say living authentically is just unapologetically and intentionally showing up. Block out the noise, whatever feels true and right for you on like a very like soul innate level. That's what you operate from. And then you just show up in all the spaces in your life in that capacity and just be intentional and do the best that you can.
And I think my answer is living authentically means living in alignment with your highest self and being true to that and making decisions from a place of it's like coming from your core and from your soul instead of like any human limitations that are on the outside of you, any conditioning you've picked up over time. It's just like what your heart and what your soul really feels to be true and owning that and standing true in that and being able to move forward with that and knowing that that is your authentic truth and nobody can take that away from you.
And then we just elaborate in every podcast episode.
Exactly.
All right. If you could, I mean, we sort of talked about this earlier with the multiple choice, but that had limitations. So if you could travel to one place anywhere in the world right now, where would it be and why?
This changes on the daily for me. I think at this moment, I would pick like Greece/Croatia. I just want to go visit anywhere where they filmed Mamma Mia because I think it is the dreamiest and most joy-filled looking place I've ever seen. And I just want to go and bask in like the sun and the water and just have a photo shoot and eat the food and just be there and live out my Mamma Mia dreams. So
I love that. Unsurprising, just because I'm not going to stop talking about it until I actually get there. And it's Italy. I just feel so called there. I want to go for like a month. I want to learn to make weird pasta shapes with 95-year-old sweet Italian nonas. And I want to visit vineyards and I want to go to the Amalfi Coast. And I just want to be in the sunshine in southern Italy. And I want to eat the food and experience the culture. And I just probably won't ever want to leave, but that's my answer.
the third question, what is one thing you would do every day if your life were free of limitations?
Oh, this is a hard question. Everyone always goes, "Oh, that's hard," or "Oh, that's a good one" when we ask. It is. I think I would be everywhere and nowhere. Like if time weren't an issue and money weren't an issue, I would travel, but it wouldn't just be there's just always something going on and we're attached to our phones and there's just always like stimulation. And I think like the my idea of being everywhere and nowhere is I could be anywhere in the world or I could be nowhere as in like no one can reach me kind of thing. Like I can just have like solace for a moment or an hour or a day and not feel like guilty about it, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
That's my very obscure, weird answer.
I think my answer would be, of course, I would be traveling every day. Like, I think if I had no limitations whatsoever, I probably would just have like consistent transportation. Like, even if it was like a plane to get me from here to there, like, I would just be going and trying to see as many countries and places as possible. But when I'm there, like kind of doing what I already like to do when I travel, which is eat really good food, do a cool experience, take photos, like take it all in. I would just bring whoever I wanted with me and we would just stay in really beautiful places. Um, but then too, I would have like a home base to go back to when I wanted like a rest as well. So yeah, just basically like seeing the world all of the time.
Yeah.
But then also letting myself like you're kind of saying like pace it a little bit, like if I don't want to
Mhm.
do anything, just like having the freedom to choose. I
Yeah.
think just being free in the world would be
Yeah.
like the best feeling ever.
That would be the limitation I would want to be free of is that just obligation to like the societal pressures and the cultural stuff and all of the stuff you get dragged into throughout the day or just people's opinions. I would just want to block it all out and be able to truly block it all out and just get away from all of it. And it doesn't matter if it's 10 minutes from my house or 10,000 miles away. Like I would just relish in that. Okay, last question. And summer can begin. What is one childlike quality that you think would be beneficial if adults utilized it in their daily lives?
I'm gonna go with, because I'm craving this in my life right now, is just complete and ultimate presence in the moment.
Mm,
um I think that beautiful, blissful state that kids have in their brains where they just are so focused on what's right in front of them and like don't have like a swirling, chattery mind is amazing. And if we could just somehow have the ability to get to back to that space, it would
mm,
be like utter freedom. Like I wish I could just turn my mind off sometimes and get back to that because I remember what it feels like. It's so strange. But yeah, just being so in the moment and not worrying about like what's going to happen, like being free of fear. Like I just feel like I'm scared all the time of things that are so hypothetical. Just the true bliss and presence, I think, are the qualities that would be really beneficial if we could plug those into adult life.
mhm. I love that. Mine actually came from something I noticed recently. I was recently at Sanaa, which, if for those of you who don't know, is one of just my favorite restaurants at Disney. It's right on the savannah at Animal Kingdom Lodge, and there are these huge windows, and you can see the animals. And it just so happened that when I was there at lunchtime, all of the animals were very active. There were like four giraffes and zebras and like okapi and just tons of different amazing animals. And there were kids all throughout the restaurant because it's Disney. And three different times I noticed three different children getting so excited about the animals. And they would sort of, like, oh my gosh. And they would yell a little. So, like, you could hear it, but it was like such an excited, like, and all three times, all three of their separate parents, these was three different families, said, shh, or stop, or sit down. And it I mean, by the end, I was like upset. I was like hurt. I was hurting for them. And I was like, what? What? And I started thinking about this idea of unapologetic joy and how it's our automatic setting as kids because everything is new and exciting. And when we talked about being childlike, we talked about that wonderment element and how the adults in that situation had lost sight of that or had forgotten that. So their instinct was there are people around us. We're at a restaurant. They need to be quiet. They need to sit down. They're, being unruly or whatever. But if they could just remember what it felt like to maybe see a giraffe for the first time or experience that just like unfiltered, unapologetic joy, maybe they would have engaged in it too, instead of reprimanding their child for their very like innocent, authentic, pure response to like seeing God's creatures roaming in front of them. You know what I mean? And I just thought, like, I hope that if I ever have kids, then instead of being like, sit down, I'll be like, where? Or something, and like jump up with them and like go over to the window and look. Because I think that that's something that we forget. And that ability to feel joy about the small things over time actually just make you a happier person, that it would be so transformative if adults would almost like remember what unapologetic joy feels like. Sorry, there was a little story there, but
no, such an amazing point and a really good visual for all of us. Like, I felt like I was watching them with you. So, and with that, ladies and gentlemen, I am happy to announce that we have passed our ReDIScover final exam.
Woo!
Thank you for listening. And I hope you learned a little bit about, us and the ways that we view the world. And they were very thought-provoking questions.
Yeah. Especially that midnight snack one.
Yeah. I mean, you could have gone any way. So, well, that wraps up the academic portion of ReDIScover Summer School. We have one more episode coming to you next week, finishing out the month of June. It is going to be spectacular, extracurricular, and it is truly the encore episode of the month. So thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.
Bye!
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of ReDIScover.
Please subscribe and leave us a review wherever you're listening. Your reviews are what keep us going, and we'd love to hear from you.
Join us every Tuesday for a new conversation, and let us know what you think we should talk about next.
Follow us on Instagram at positively.kristen and at jessicafay508. And check out Jess's blog at theroadjesstraveled with 1l.com.
Until next time,
stay frumpy!